Today, I'm going to tell you a story. Don't be surprised, even 9th standard students can listen to stories. Forget physics, maths, and all your difficult subjects for a while. I'm going to take you to an old English farmhouse with cattle and ranches, horses and sheep, chicken and ducks, acres of greenery, and lush green grass for the cattle to graze. Beautiful gardens and orchards with fruit trees of all kinds, variety of birds singing in different tunes, beautiful butterflies fluttering around, rabbits and squirrels jumping all around. No, this is not the Garden of Eden. This is in Scotland. There's plenty of milk, and hence cottage cheese, yogurt, chocolates, and nuts are in plenty. Imagine all this coupled with fresh ripe fruits of all varieties, including grapevines. Isn't it a feast? Above all, we have a grandmother and grandfather in this farmhouse. Grandma's name is Mrs. Lucy Spencer. Grandfather is, of course, Mr. Spencer. She has got maids and helpers to run this place, but Lucy is like a mother to all the different species of living beings in the farm. Even the trees seem to sense her presence. Nearby, there's a brook with crystal clear water and is a home to a variety of fishes. But Lucy's happiness is that there's a chapel nearby and there is service every day. Holy Mass is celebrated and the family staying in the locality participates along with Lucy. Lucy's 7 grandchildren look forward to their vacations to visit the farmhouse, and their granny makes all their favorite dishes and pastries and welcome them all. A swing is tied to a strong tree branch before the kids arrive, and then it's music and fun. Even the animals and the birds seem to enjoy the presence of the kids being around. They help Granny to feed the chicks, collect the eggs, taste the freshly churned butter, and lick the liquid chocolates. In short, it is a paradise on earth. However, Grandma makes it sure that all her grandchildren, including the youngest, who is 10 years old, gather in the prayer hall before dinner. And Granny takes this opportunity to familiarize the kids with the age old family prayers, songs, reading from the Bible, and traditions and practices of a Catholic church. Then it's dinner time and bedtime stories of fairies, princes, and dwarfs. Every year, a few weeks before Christmas, all the family members assemble in the farmhouse wearing colorful dresses, frilled aprons, and lace hats. They are going to start making cakes, cookies, and their favorite delicacies. This is the family tradition of the Spencers. They have a prayer session the previous day. This tradition is followed by almost all the families in the locality. A few days before Christmas, they pack a portion of the cakes and other goodies which they have made and go to a nearby convent near the monastery church. The nuns in this convent eagerly wait for the visit of the Spencers every year, as this is a custom followed by the Spencer family from the time of their ancestors. In return, the sisters present the family with beautifully embroidered tablecloths, towels, as well as handmade Christmas cards made by the inmates. The Spencers attend the midnight mass for Christmas in this monastery church, which is a tradition followed from the time of their ancestors. The farmhouse and the adjacent house, which resemble a castle, has been passed on to Lucy and her husband from their ancestors, and they've been living here happily ever after. This beautiful farmhouse and the living area will be inherited by Lucy's children very soon, as Lucy is getting older and wants to hand over responsibility. This is inheritance or heritage, and the age old customs and practices we call tradition. Now, this is the introduction to our third lesson, the church and the tradition. This is our third lesson, the church and the tradition. Generally, faith and religion are linked to its origin. Only through this connection can we claim continuity. The Christian faith that we staunchly uphold and live today is handed on to us through generation. We call this process tradition. How did the word tradition originate? It originated from the Greek word paradosis and the Latin word tradiere or traditio. The word tradition means hand over or entrust. In the perspective of inheriting something from father or ancestors, the word tradition can be called heritage. Tradition is handing over of belief, values, rituals, and practices. What are the dimensions of tradition? Tradition has three phases: past, present, and future. The process of past phase becoming present phase is called tradition. Being in the present, tradition molds the future phase. Tradition makes easy the uninterrupted flow of history. Tradition connects the present with the past and it is linked to the future. Tradition and sacred scriptures. The Holy Bible is handing over of Christian faith in the written form. Tradition is the handing over of Christian faith in the oral form. Both the Holy Bible and tradition are the fundamental sources of Christian faith. Interpretation is required for the comprehension of the Holy Scriptures. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 8, verse 31. Tradition is indispensable for interpretation and explanation to understand the meaning and depth. Hence, Holy Scriptures and tradition are interlinked. The origin of the Holy Scriptures and tradition is the Lord our God. The aim of these two entities is to know God and make Him known to others. The sacred scriptures are formed out of tradition. Tradition has also been formed even after the formation of the sacred scriptures. Tradition and proclamation. Tradition is not only handing over of historical events but also description and proclamation. Tradition of the church is the description of the plan of salvation completed by Jesus and the proclamation of the message of salvation handed on to us in history. The words of Jesus are relevant today as they were in the past. These words are proclaimed today for the present generation as per the requirement of the time. Tradition and Christ. The unaltered source of tradition is Christ Himself. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Christ Himself is the real subject of Christian tradition. Therefore, Jesus' teachings and deeds, the writings and preachings of the apostles, are the topics of the church tradition. According to the promise given to the human race by God, Christ was born and lived in Jewish tradition. But Christ opposed the blind belief of tradition. Jesus did not consider the practices of tradition devoid of justice, mercy, and faith. Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Tradition and the Holy Spirit. The tradition of the Holy Catholic Church becomes dynamic by the working of the Holy Spirit. We cannot interpret and comprehend the tradition without the assistance of God's Spirit. The message of Jesus and His salvific deeds remain vibrant exclusively with the help of the Holy Spirit. Tradition and the Church. The Gospel of Jesus Christ is the foundation of Christian tradition. The Gospel and the redemption are received and materialized in the Church. Hence, Christian tradition is part and parcel of the Church. Tradition is not merely the Holy Scriptures and teachings of the Church, but it also includes sacraments, the authority and procedures of the Church, and the sacred liturgy and rituals. Thank you, and God bless you all. Stay safe.